Hello YouTube, this is Pastor Green doing another Bible study. This one's going to be on Genesis chapter 7. You can email me with any questions at GodsOHman@gmail.com. That's GODSOHMAN@gmail.com. This is going to be a YouTube Bible study, so make sure you're subscribed to my channel. Click the notification bell, that way you get updates whenever I post a new video. Like the video, and also comment whether you like the video or if you have any questions. Genesis 7, chapter 7, verse 1. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in the generation. And remember, it says come into the ark, not go into the ark. That means God's inside the ark with him. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. Most biblical scholars will say that he took one male and one female of the unclean and 6 females of the clean. Do that for multiple reasons. After the whole ark encounter, they're allowed to eat animals, so that'll be helping with that to repopulate. You only need one male to repopulate a generation. You'll need 6 females. And so by doing this, you're going to have multiple males and multiple females. And the clean beasts, like I said, will be eaten after the ark. So you need to have more of those because we'll be eating the clean ones. And the ones that are not clean, they're not allowed to be eaten. That's why you only need 2 of them. But the fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. Remember, everything's going to be destroyed. All the animals, all the plants, all the people. So we need to keep the seeds alive of all the animals once they get off the ark so they can repopulate the earth. The plants are going to get destroyed, but then since it's only going to be a year, they're going to be in the ark. It'll be able to be repopulated quite easily. They've actually done scientific tests to say that after about 6 months to a year, seeds start growing again. So they're actually on the ark, I think, for 4 months. After the water subside, that gives the plants 4 months to grow. And then, of course, we need the birds and the animals as well on the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And every living substance that I have made, I will destroy from off the face of the earth. So God's telling Noah right here that in 7 days, he's going to start the rains. So make sure everything's prepared, everything's ready for the rain. And, God told Noah to bring the animals, but later on it's going to say that God actually brought the animals to Noah. So that makes it a lot easier for him as well. And Noah did according unto all the Lord's commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. Nobody really knows when God gave Noah the command to do the ark. Some people believe they gave it to him when he was 500, so that gave him 100 years to build the ark. But you never know; it could have been a couple months. But Noah was 600 years ago when the water started falling on the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him, unto the ark, because of the waters of the flood, of clean beasts, and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went into unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month of the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. Right here it's saying that water came from under the ground. The waters broke up through the ground up into the sky. So not only did it rain for 40 days and 40 nights, but the fountains of the great deep, the water underneath the earth, broke through the fault lines and came upon the earth as well. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And in the same self day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them unto the ark. Psalms 24:1 says, "The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world, and they dwell therein. For he founded upon it the seas, and established it upon the floods." So he's telling you that the earth was actually built on top of the flood. So there's all this water underneath the earth. Psalms 33:7, "He gathereth the waters of the sea together as in a heap. He layeth up the depths in storehouses." Psalms 33 is also telling you that he keeps all the waters underneath the earth in storehouses. Psalms 136:6, "To him that stretched out the earth above the waters." Again, Psalms is telling you that he put the earth on top of the waters. This is a picture from Carl Ball. You can see here underneath that dome, there's the trees. Then you have the crust. Underneath the crust, you have all the water. It's a belief of mine and many creationists that believe that there was a canopy of water above the earth, frozen ice about 2 to 3 inches thick. Then you had the atmosphere, about 10 to 15 miles of air. Then you had the earth, which was about 10 to 20 miles deep. Then you have about a half a mile of water underneath the crust. That's where the fountains of the deep came from Genesis 7. So I'm not showing you right there that there's water underneath the earth. And this picture is another picture. It's Walt Brown's hydroprate theory in the book In the Beginning. He's showing you that there's water underneath the crust. And when the fault lines broke open, that's when the water got shooting up into the air. Genesis 7, 11, and 12. "In the 600th year of Noah's life, the same day were all the fountains of the deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and there rains upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. This right here is from Walt Brown's hydroprate theory. It's showing you that the water under the earth, when the fault lines broke, the water got shooting up into the air. And this is very possible. Let me show you the math after this. Another picture of what it would look like probably with the fountains of the deep going through the fault lines. A cubic foot of rock weighs about 160 pounds. And if there's actually 10 miles of rock above that, that would put 8,448,000 pounds of pressure per square foot on the water. That's about 30 tons per square inch, or 58,637 pounds per square inch. Once the fault lines get broken open, the water is going to launch rocks into space. And doing this is actually going to break the canopy of ice above the earth. And all the debris from the earth is going to get shot up into space. It's going to cause meteors, and it's going to cause dust clouds. And it's really interesting if you look at the moon. The near side of the moon have great big huge craters, and the far side of the moon has really small craters. I believe, and a lot of other creationists believe, that the big craters were from the fountains of the deep broken open, the water coming up from the earth, launching into space, just hit the moon like a shotgun blast, and putting these great big huge craters on there. And the far side of the moon is going to catch the backlash. After the rocks start coming back to Earth, it's going to hit the far side of the moon, making a lot smaller craters. This right here is a picture of different impact sites where different meteorites have hit the planet. The smaller the red dot is, the smaller the diameter of the crater is, and the bigger is the bigger one, the bigger diameter. This right here is the Behringer Crate in Arizona. And it was probably hit from somewhere around 100 years after the flood. Now this is right here is talking about what would happen when the fountains of the deep would break open. It would cause these cracks in the Earth's surface. All the water is going to shoot up in the air, which is going to make the continents drift down some. So it's actually going to go down, and the water is going to go on top of it. This right here shows you a scientific study. If you take pressure and when you push the water up into the air by using these springs here, what's going to happen is the more pressure you build up, the rocks are going to actually separate from the middle, and the water is going to shoot up, and the rocks are going to go to the side, causing mountains and valleys. Here's another picture from Walt Brown's book showing you the exact same thing I just talked about. It's going to push these those spots up, and then the continents are going to slide, lubricated by the water underneath it. See, these are going to come up right here, and the sides are going to come down. These right here are a picture of some folded mountains. The only way possible for a mountain to be folded is to, number one, be soft, and that's going to be caused by the flood. And second, you had to have lateral pressure. You had to be pressure from both sides pushing the rocks in, and that's how you get these little jagged, wavy patterns in these mountains. As you can see here, folded mountains are best explained by lateral compression. As the plate slid, it's going to push the different land masses to either side. It's going to cause little jagged ridges in there, like you see here. It can only be done by lateral compression as well as soft rocks. And we're going to have more on that in DVD 6 of the green theory, which is going to be my creation videos talking about creation, evolution, and how evolution is wrong. This right here is just showing you what a fault line would do. It would crack the earth like an eggshell. Water would get shot up into the air, and we have fault lines all over the world right now. And this right here is a map showing you volcanoes, the volcanoes that we know of, and the blue lines are fault lines. If you look at the lines, you can see that almost every volcano that we have is on a fault line. Not all of them, but a good majority of them are, and that's because the magma is going to work its way up through the fault lines. That's the most fragile part of the Earth. So as you can see, almost all the fault lines have volcanoes on them. Here's the San Andreas Fault in California. Today there's still water trapped underneath the crust, and we have evidence of that, and I'll show you in the next video. But you're gonna have rain coming up. You're gonna have all the cracks around the earth. Now we're gonna have mountains that we didn't have before. Like I said, there's still water trapped underneath. We know there's water trapped underneath the earth because we have these subterranean vents where they actually have water coming up from the bottom of the ocean. And it's common sense to say that if it's coming up from the bottom of the ocean, the water has to be lower than that. That's why there's hot water vents in the ocean. I just have a couple pictures of showing when you have earthquakes and fault line movements, what's going to happen. This is a road where the right side of the road actually rose up from the ground. Here's showing you plates moving. And how would you like to drive a railroad tracks on that? The earth moves side to side, and it caused the railroad tracks to move like that. Another thing of showing you when the plates move. A big separation right there from plates moving. You can see the farmer's field. He had straight lines, and the plates moved, and now his yard's a little bit crooked. More pictures of plates moving. Houses getting lifted up out of the ground. As you can see, when plates move, it's a lot of devastation. Right there, there was a plates moving, and there was a big hole now. The whole entire side of this place is lifted up. And you can see the big landslide on the side. Plates moved up. It's a good 100 foot right there. You see these buildings are on their side now because the plates moved up. Plates moved here as well. And you can see the whole entire side of the highway just got moved, and on the right side you have a road, and you can see that the road moved a little bit because of that. In Japan, they actually had a tsunami a couple years ago, and one of the plates actually moved underneath the other plate. And when that happened, it caused great big tidal waves. So you can imagine you're going to have the fountains of the deep broken up, which is going to shoot water and dirt and ground all up in the air. The plates are going to move, which are going to cause the earthquakes everywhere. It's also going to cause tidal waves. The whole entire earth is covered in water. This is 15 feet over 15 cubics over the highest mountain. So you're going to have huge tidal waves. The moon's going to be acting upon that, causing huge waves. It's just going to be a big mess. 2 Peter 3:6 says, whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished. Talking about the flood. The whole entire earth was destroyed because of this flood. Here's a longevity chart. If you can go to drdino.com and you can buy 6 of these charts for $30, or if you know me personally, I can sell you one for $5. It's the same price as he sells them for. I can just sell them individually. And it shows you how long people lived, and there's a blue line going down the middle of it that shows you the flood. Genesis 7:14. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, and every bird after their sort. And they went unto Noah unto the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. Now notice it says up in verse 15, wherein is the breath of life. There'll be more of that the next verse. Genesis 7:17. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lifted above the earth, and the waters prevailed, and they were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went up upon the face of the waters. So it basically says that Noah was in the ark a couple days, about 40 days, when the waters actually lifted the ark up off the ground. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. This is telling you that this couldn't be a local flood, it had to be a global flood, because it was 15 cubits above the highest mountain. Well, 15 cubits of that's going to go down the valley, and it's going to keep filling up. So the only way to get 15 cubits above the highest mountain is if the whole entire earth was covered. And all the flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle, and of beasts, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man. And all in those nostrils were the breath of life, and all that were in dry land died. And what this is telling you is that the only animals that were affected were the animals on dry land who had breath of life in their nostrils, which means that the fish weren't affected. I mean, obviously, when the fountains of the deep broke open, a lot of fish died. But they're not talking about fish. No, it didn't have to have fish on the ark. And you also didn't have to have bugs, because bugs breathe through their skin. Bugs can just float around on land mats in order to survive. So the only animals he took on the ark was the animals on land who have the breath of life in their nostrils. So it doesn't include fish, and it doesn't include insects. Genesis 7:23. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heavens, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and that they that were in the ark. And the waters prevailed against the earth 150 days. So what this is telling you is that the waters are going to keep going up 150 days, which is about 5 months. So you're going to keep getting water over and over and over for 5 months. And the whole idea of this is that everything on earth dies. Now, it's possible that, certain areas might have only had water cover the whole earth for 3 months, or for a month, or for 4 months, or maybe it took the whole 5 months. All that matters is that it killed everything in that area. So you might have an area that only has it for 3 months, and that gives time for the land masses and the plants to start growing in that area, as long as all the animals and the people are dead at that point. Well, this is the end of the Bible study. I appreciate you guys listening to me again. Again, you can email me at GodsOHman@gmail.com. That's GODSOHMAN@gmail.com. Remember, when you close this out, you click a like on my video, and also make a comment whether you liked it or not, and also if you have any questions. And I will see you the next time. Have a great day.